Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone to this Interact Europe Policy Learning Platform's second webinar in our series on waste prevention. Last week, we spoke about green public procurement, and today we will focus on education and training and on how citizen participation can stimulate waste prevention. We have excellent speakers and good practices lined up for you, and we are really looking forward to a great discussion on this important topic. My name is Astrid Severin, and I'm a thematic expert for environment and resource efficiency at the Interact Europe Policy Learning Platform. I would also like to welcome my expert colleague, Eugénie Supplisson from our communications team. Before we start, I would like to share some housekeeping rules. As you have noticed, we are recording this webinar, and later you will be able to find the recordings along with all the presentations that you will see today. So yes, you have access to all the presentations. Of course, we encourage you to ask questions. Please don't be shy, write them in the chat, and in the chat you will also find a lot of useful information and links along all the presentations and discussions that we are having. And as always, at the end of the webinar, we will be asking you to fill in a survey, and please give us feedback so we know what we can do, improve for the next time and what you have been missing. Before we are presenting the agenda to you and we are introducing our speakers, we have also prepared 2 polls. So we would like to ask you who you are, first of all, what type of organization you're representing. Are you from an EU institution, local, regional, or national authority, a private organization, an NGO or a fund, academia, or even another organization, other type of organization? In that case, let us know, write it in the chat so we get to know you a little bit better. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is great. We have a lot of local and regional and national authorities with us today. Also a lot of other organizations, so please let us know where you're coming from. So that's very interesting. And then our next poll is just to see what are the main interests that you're having in attending this workshop. Is it that you want to understand more about how to engage citizens in waste prevention, or in zero waste education and training, or in waste prevention measures, or in even new ways of reducing waste generation in your communities? And you have a multiple choice. You can tick several boxes or all of them as you like. Well, we see there is a lot of interest in everything, especially zero waste education and training, but also citizen engagement, waste prevention measures in general. So excellent. I think we have the right presentations for you here today. So please let us know in the chat where you're coming from. And I would ask Eugénie to launch the PowerPoint presentation, just that I'm able to introduce you a little bit our speakers and the agenda that we're having today. So we have a very nice lineup. First of all, I would like to say hello to Serena Lisai from ACR+, who is going to present to us how to engage citizens in waste prevention activities. We're really looking forward to your presentation, Serena. And then we are having a number of Interact Europe policy changes and good practices around waste prevention. So we are starting off with the disco soup, encouraging citizens' participation in food prevention, from Antoine Delaunay. So hello, Antoine, good to see you.
Hi.
Then, hello. Then we're moving from France to Portugal. We have Sofia Martins here, which is going to present the e-learning course on construction demolition waste, another important waste stream. And then we're looking at Amsterdam, the Netherlands. So hello also to Patricia from Hemert, who is going to speak to us about the Zero Waste Lab Plein 4045, which is also a very interesting, good practice. On the next slide, you see that once we have dealt with waste prevention, we're going to go into the subject of nature prevention and restoration. So if you're interested, you will see here we have a workshop in Ghent at the end of May, beginning of June, where we're talking about how to bring back nature to the city and discover how we can restore this nature, including some exciting visits to the Oude Dokken in Ghent. And we're talking about green infrastructure, urban parks, rivers, and so on. And also in June, we are going to talk about climate adaptation in deltas. Also for this, you can, it's our next webinar series, you can register. So we're talking about coastal restoration on the 15th of June and about wetland restoration on the 28th of June. So for those of you which are interested in waste prevention, and also in nature restoration, some interesting events for which we invite you to register, and you can find all the registration links in the chat as always. So with this, I would like to thank you for being here with us and give the word to our keynote speaker. Serena, we will hear from you how to engage citizens in waste prevention activities, and please launch your presentation, and we're looking forward to hearing about especially also the European Week of Waste Reduction.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Thanks a lot, Astrid, for the introduction. Very interesting events, actually. I would like to come to Ghent. I'm very interested in the topic. Unfortunately, I will not be in Brussels. But yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me for this interesting event. I know that I have 10 minutes, so I'm Italian, so I talk quite a lot, so I will try to stay in the 10 minutes you gave me. So I will just take 1 minute to say some words on my organization. So as I said, I work as a project officer for ACR Plus, that stands for Association of Cities and Regions on Sustainable Resource Management. And basically ACR Plus is a network of public authorities that put circular economy at the real core of their policies and initiatives. And at the moment, we have around 100 members that are all over Europe, but also in Northern Africa. And basically our daily work is to providing support to our members in identifying and also implementing good practices on circular economy at the local level. We try to put them in contact with each other, so with other cities that are experiencing the same challenges. We involve them in projects, and also we try to provide to them all the information, especially on the most updated European directive that sometimes at local level is really difficult to catch. And we have we focus on 5 key thematic focus on built environment, so everything connected to construction and demolition sector, sustainable food system, so from soil protection to valorization of bio-waste. Circular lifestyle, it refers to all sustainable circular habitats can be promoted among citizens, so tourism, but also sports events. Then the 4th topic is on policy and governance, so supporting public authorities to identify legal economic instruments or tools to encourage sustainable behavior at both private and also public level. And then finally, waste and material flows indicates all the circular action that can be taken in terms of prevention, sorting, collection, reuse, and recycling. At the moment, we are involved in more than 30 projects, and these projects give us really the opportunity to get expertise on all these different topics, and also to involve our member in the project activities. So among all the projects, let's say that in terms of waste prevention, our most important initiative is the European Week for Waste Reduction, or how we call it, the EWWR, or the week. We have many ways. So the week is the biggest raising awareness campaign focused on waste prevention that we have at European level. It basically consists in a week that is always the last week of November, during which everyone is really called to organize an action to promote waste reduction at local level. It was born in 2009 under a LIFE program, so it was funded by the European Commission, and the local authorities that actually were involved in the project, they decided to keep working on it also when the fund was ended. So since 2017, the EWWR is supported by a steering committee that is made of public authorities. So we have, as ACER Plus, we manage, let's say, the campaign at European level, but in the steering committee, just to say some names, we have the Catalan Waste Management Agency, ADEME, in France, Brussels Environment, in Belgium, the Principality of Monaco, but we also have support from the Committee of the Regions and the European Commission. So the EWWR is represented at a regional and national level by 36 coordinators at the moment, which are usually public organizations that are working in the field of waste management and waste prevention. A lot also involved also in education, raising awareness. And thanks to them, thanks to their contribution, the campaign is really able to reach people and organizations all over Europe. And we can promote the campaign in different languages as well, which usually really helps to go over the language barrier. And in 2022, just to give you some number, we collected in 1 week, has again more than 60,000 action in around 30 countries. So what we offer is, say, in order to engage always more people, we produce every year communication material that the action developer can use definitely for free. They can download it from our website, and they can use it, use this material to promote their activities at local level. And thanks to the support, as I said, of coordinators, actually we managed to translate the material in different languages, even Swedish, for example. Not just the basic one that you always find all over internet, like Spanish, Italian, but really all the languages in Europe. So by visiting our website, action developers can get inspiration because there's a database with all the action that have been organized in the past edition. I maybe didn't say, but now we reached the 15th edition, so many actions. There are fact sheets, there are games that are all related to waste reduction. And furthermore, every year we select a thematic focus to raise attention on a specific aspect of waste reduction. And we provide specific material to inform about the topic and to inspire action in this sense. So just to give you an example, in 2021, we focus on the importance of promoting waste reduction at the community level. We were going out, let's say, from, it was after 2 years of COVID, though, so the need of acting all together as a community was quite strong. And so you can see some example of the material that we prepared. And then in 2022, so last edition, we focused on circular and sustainable textile. So we gather the main information resources on topic of textile, highlighting both the environmental and also the social impact of this sector, and also inspiring action to reduce the amount of textile waste that is produced. So the week is open to everyone. When I say everyone, it's really everyone, because we have 5 categories of action developer, from public administration, the businesses, industry, association, NGOs, educational establishments, so from kindergarten to university, citizens. So people can register their action. They can start registering their action in September. What is key is that the action has to happen, let's say, during the last week of November, and it has to address, of course, the topic of waste reduction. But another way, as I said, to be involved is to become coordinator. So this role is open to public authorities that are willing to promote the campaign, and they are actually working at regional, national, local level in this topic. So when I've been contacted by Interreg Europe to bring some example of waste reduction, I had a huge database of 15 years of EWW action. And also 30 years of experience of ACER Plus, supporting their members in bringing waste prevention to their citizens. So it was quite difficult. I had to do the selection also to stay in the minutes. Just before starting, I just would like to specify that since we are also talking about how to communicate with citizens to involve them in this circular transition, I think the terminology that we use is very important. So what we always say at ACER Plus is that we avoid referring to zero waste, since this might actually scare some citizens, that they feel like, oh, I will never be able to reach zero waste, so I just give up. So we prefer say less waste, let's say, as we have to pass, I think, the message that we can all reduce our impact, more or less, depending also on many factors, also geographical or social. But we have to accept the fact that we are human beings, and then as human beings, only the fact that we are human beings, we always produce an impact on the planet. So what we have to pass is like this idea of do as much as possible to reduce and to produce less waste. So this said, today I feel sharing with you just 5 key actions that we think can help public authorities to involve their citizens in waste prevention. So the first is generate positive effect on environment and society. So this refers to the need of merging environmental with social issue, because sometimes they follow different paths, but actually they are strong connected. Then exchange knowledge to engage more people in the change, and I will provide an example on this. Facilitate the collaboration among local actors such as public authorities, waste management companies, local businesses, and citizens. The fourth refers to promotion of sharing economy, promoting the behavioral change that encourages exchange instead than owning. And finally, the idea of launching challenges is a great strategy to actually create this sense of community and to promote a more sustainable lifestyle. So I brought some example. This one is from the 2021 edition of the EWWR. It was organized by Zero Waste Netherlands, and they engaged citizens in 17 cities in the Netherlands in a guided tour through different locations. There were local organic markets, plastic-free shops, sustainable restaurant, repair cafe, second-hand shop. And so during these actions, citizens could talk, meet, and they could discover all the opportunities that their city is actually offering to adopt a more sustainable lifestyle, but also to meet with the local entrepreneurs, other people actually that they in their city are aware about this. Then the second example.
3 minutes you have, yeah?
Yeah, perfectly on time. The other action is a good example of collaboration, I think, between a municipality, the local waste management company, and local businesses, in this case, restaurant and citizens. So the citizens of Badalona in Spain were encouraged to bring their domestic cooking oil to local restaurant as an alternative from going to the eco center, which is sometimes outside of the city, so difficult to reach. And during these actions, citizens also receive information about the impact of not well-sorted cooking oil, got a soap bar that was produced by the local waste management company with the collected oil. So really seeing what can be done with a corrected sorting. And then this last example actually comes from a live project in which a surplus is involved called Life Raising Waste. And the project focuses on the importance of guiding citizens in sorting their waste, which can also improve, of course, the recycling and to reduce the waste that goes to landfill. And they implemented as is called Know As You Throw scheme that basically informs citizens on how well or bad they sorted their waste. So they used the WhatsApp, they worked as a communication tool with a company in charge of the collection that also, and the citizens. And they also provided to citizens advices and tips to improve their sorting. And there was also a rewarding system through the collection of points that was a sort of challenge for citizens to do all the time better. So I close, and I'm happy to reply to all the questions you might have. Just inviting you to follow the EWWR Awards ceremony. That actually is the reason why we'll not be in Brussels, because it's on the 1st of June, and it will reveal the best action of the 2022 edition. All the finalists will be in Dublin, so it will be a great moment to actually meet with each other and to exchange also ideas for the next edition and in general. And furthermore, of course, I encourage you to join the campaign. The next edition, we will focus on packaging, and the registration will open in September. This edition will be between the 18th and the 26th of November. So thanks a lot. I hope I was on time. And I'm very happy to be here to reply all the questions you might have, and willing to listen from all the others. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much, Serena, for a very inspiring presentation and for letting us know that you're going to focus on packaging this year. So everybody can already scribble in the agendas 18 to 26th of November. Packaging is one of the big aspects. I was already very interested in hearing that you were dealing with textiles last year. So as you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation, it's very important to communicate a lot and well, I guess, and again and again, and also to provide inspiration. So I think that you have done that with your presentation. So thank you for that. I have a first question, and I hope there's more questions coming in the chat to you, because you have a lot of experience with 15 years of waste prevention on the back. So what do you think are the main motivational factors for people to participate in waste prevention activities?
I would say that, as I mentioned before, we should not, and that also public authorities should not show that waste prevention is very difficult. It's like something that everyone can do in their daily life. So as it's communicated, it has to be shown that even a small action can really make the difference, and especially when it's done at a level of community, it has a bigger impact. And then when you, from the community, you manage also to reach the companies. And as public authorities, of course, public authorities have a huge role and huge potential to actually not just involve the citizens, but I think also to guide the businesses to take the right decision in terms of waste prevention and circular economy. So I think what it's very important is to communicate that waste prevention is something that is normal to do. Actually, sometimes it even produces, it has a good impact on the economy. So it has to be communicated in a way that everyone don't feel scared. Like, that's why I was highlighting the fact that zero waste actually, even to myself, it brings me a little bit of anxiety. I will never be able to be zero waste or be totally sustainable, you know, like putting a little bit, engaging the people and encourage them to do all the time better. And I think sharing, inspiring action and to show that other people are doing something like that in a context that are similar to mine, it can really help. But without like putting too much pressure, especially on the citizens, but maybe putting a little bit more also on businesses.
Thank you very much. And I guess you also tailor your communication to the different audiences. Let's say how you speak with companies, how you speak with public authorities, or with citizens directly, or NGOs.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
think that's an important aspect. And have you observed any cultural differences in the different countries? I mean, I always hear that, you know, in some countries, like, you know, dealing with waste is not.
So this is it. Yes, this is interesting because actually last year we always talk in ACER Plus about the fact that it's true, we call it European Week for Waste Reduction, but does it really, waste reduction, have, you know, borders? Can we really talk about Europe and not about other continents, let's say? So last year we launched the Euromed Week for Waste Reduction because we wanted to cross the sea. Actually, we focused this sister campaign on the challenges that North of Africa is experiencing. Because of course, if you go to North Africa, or in general, I would say also in some African countries, or to India, I mean, there are other contexts in the planet. And when you talk about waste prevention, of course, in Europe, I think we moved a little bit further than just recycling. I think we passed that moment. Recycling is really like, they say, the last chance before there are many other activities that we can do to reduce the amount of waste that then goes to recycling, because also recycling needs energy, you know, it's an industrial process. While in other contexts, this is different. In other contexts, prevention is still really a lot connected to recycling, because this is the emergency, let's say, the old waste that is produced, they have to do something, and the best thing to do, of course, is recycling. So it's very good to have in the week, in the European Week for Waste Reduction, now also North Africa, but also other countries like in East Europe, where they have different challenges, for example, from other countries. It's also cultural and to push a little bit more the idea of reduction, then reuse, and then recycling, just to keep this order.
I think that's something coming from the renewable energy sector, where we always say, you know, the energy that you're not using, that you don't have to produce, is the best one, and that's the best renewable energy. And here is the waste that you're not producing is always the best. So, so we have two questions in the chat. So first one is for somebody who came a little bit late. So please don't worry. You can watch this webinar again. We have a recording, and the next week of waste reduction that was just presented by Serena is taking place from 18th to 26th of November. And this year the subject is packaging. So this is for you, Monica. And we have another question which is relating to impact. So how do you monitor impact? What do you have indicators, and do you help also the others that are participating in the campaign to monitor their impact in some way or another?
So this is something that we, it's quite difficult. Again, as I said, this is at the moment, it's a self-funded project. So let's say that resources that we have are always a little bit, we have to be creative, let's say, with the resources that we have. So we don't have a clear and scientific, I would say, monitoring process. What we did this year was we published a survey after the edition, where we collected some information, some basic information to know, for example, which country participated in the campaign, how much, because this year was on textile, so many actions were related to collecting clothes, donating, exchange, for example. So we collecting some data like about how much waste was collected, how much waste was reduced, but I wouldn't sell it as a scientific monitoring process, to be honest. At regional level, the coordinators are doing definitely a better job than us, because they have control, let's say, of well, less actions as well, and they have more connection at local level. So they manage, let's say that the data that we can get is like the number of action, where they are located geographically, but the actions are so different from each other. Sometimes it's an event, sometimes it's online, sometimes it's many days. So it's a little bit tricky, but in the form when the people participate in the campaign, they can provide some information. So they are all visible in the database.
Well, thank you very much. I think for now, I think we would like to thank you for your presentation, for answering the questions. You're here with us, so more questions are always welcome, and we can tackle them a little bit later. So please, again, don't be shy if you still can think of questions for Serena or our other participants. So before we are going to our first, let's say, good practice presentation, we'd like to ask you also a little bit what you're doing on waste prevention. So I'd ask my colleague to launch the third poll. It is, so do you have a waste prevention strategy at your organization? Please let us know if yes or no, or if you don't know if you have one, or if you're just in the process of getting there. Thank you. So let's say, yes, well, excellent. We have already 54% that is having one, and 31% which need to still implement one. So we hope that you're getting the inspiration today, and also those which are in the process of getting there, that they can also have some interesting takeaways for their waste prevention strategy. Then the next poll would focus on, do you work with zero waste education and participation? So do you work already on such activities? Yes, we would like to, but we don't know how. We are in the process of getting there, or no, we are not working on such activities yet. Hopefully. Also, oh, well, this is really interesting to see. A large amount of 72% already implementing such activities. and getting more, looking for more inspiration to get even better, and 17% which did not have yet and still have to go there. So excellent. Well, thank you very much for answering these polls. I think we hope we are now having good examples for you from the area of food waste prevention, construction demolition waste, and also some market waste. So with this, we would like to go right away into the first inspirational example. It's coming from France, and I would like to ask Antoine to turn on his camera and bring up his presentation, please. So Antoine is going to talk to us about an activity which is called Disco Soup, and he is encouraging with this activity citizens to participate in food waste prevention, one of the most important things if it comes to me that has to be done in the future. So Antoine, the word is yours. We're looking forward to listening to you.
Great. So I was from the other side of the fence because I created this movement as a citizen. I was not like yet part of like the people who organize policies. And I started along with friends, this initiative, which is quite simple, consists in picking up discarded fruit and vegetables from supermarkets, markets, groceries, and inviting people through music and wigs to cook together and to enjoy a meal to fight against food waste. So it started exactly 10 years ago, and it started somehow as a joke because a friend of mine had come to Berlin, and there was a demonstration against like industrial fooding system, and they had like plenty of agriculture that had gave them potatoes that was not like able, they were not able to sell them. So the demonstrators decided to cook together and listening to music because it could like, it was more friendly and more funny to do that together. And we just picked up from slow food this idea of cooking and listening to music together, and we brought it to another level. We did nothing but like organizing something like a toolkit. So we had a few events, and it worked very well. And a lot of people, we had quite early media coverage, and a lot of people contacted us asking us how to do the same. And we didn't want it to come into like hierarchy and to have a big like create a new NGO with a lot of processes. So we put everything we knew in a toolkit, an open source toolkit, and we gave the opportunity to anyone who respected basic rules, like 10 commandments of the disco. And it consists in like only like cooking with discarded fruit and vegetables, putting music, like having not selling the soups that were made of discarded fruit and vegetables. And like everybody that respect those 10 rules can call is even disco soup. And we gave also like advices, so where to pick like the cooking stuff, how to organize, how to do the legal stuff to prevent to cook in open spaces. And in something like only 2 years, we went from a group of 10 friends to worldwide communities of more than 200 cities cooking out of discarded food and vegetables on a regular basis. Some of them organizing almost weekly meetings. So what is like, I think like something like last week was the World Disco Soup Day. So Slow Food saw what we had done out of their first initiative, and they got inspired from an event, they themselves inspired, and they keep on organizing the World Disco Soup Day. And I think that it was last week, and every World Disco Soup Day for the last 5 years, I think there has been something like hundreds of cities cooking discarded fruit and vegetables together at the same time. So what is quite interesting is not about feeding stomach, it's more about feeding the mind and the heart. We make people understand that it is possible to create local groups and to really change the way they live together in the neighborhood, where they organize parties, where they organize like events for the NGOs or in their local quarters. So, and we make, we use that creativity moment and that fun moment to speak about the ins and outs of food waste. So we talk to them about how to purchase, where to purchase, but we also explain to them what are the impacts, the ins and outs of food waste. Why do people throw waste? What need to be changed in the law, in the systems, in the food industry, in the fields? And people come up with a better understanding that as individuals, they can change and waste less food, but as citizens, they can also get involved into bigger organization, and they can wait in their local governments to change different stuff about food system. So we have made a lot of infographics that are available at on our website, discosoup.org. And last but not least, what was quite interesting is that we really empowered, I would say, like 10,000 people on how to organize wasteless, I would say almost zero waste parties and events. And some of them had so much fun and learned so much about food waste during those events that they even created their own zero waste company. For instance, Colette, which became later a friend of mine, she decided to keep on collecting discarded fruits from the supermarkets, but then she transforms them in a workshop with people that have, like, let's say, an employment problem, and then they sell it again to the same supermarkets as jam. And today, I think that there are at least something like 10 companies that have started to cook food out of discarded fruit and vegetables, thanks to what they learned through Disco Soup. So today, unfortunately, after 3 years of, let's say 2 years of COVID, the local groups of Disco Soup have lost a little bit of their strength. But nowadays, in France, the movement is starting again, and there was a Disco Soup last week simultaneously in Bordeaux, and there was also Disco Soup Marseille is starting again. There was also Disco Soup in Normandy, in Bretagne, and the movement is taking up again. And if you have any questions, if you know NGOs that could work with markets or supermarkets and could organize almost free events to raise awareness among the people and empower citizens to create their company and to change the way they vote, the way they behave, the way they consume, you can local NGOs, citizens, the tools to organize Disco Soups. I might check the questions.
No, I'll help you with that. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you said thank you very much for this very inspiring talk. I don't know if your screen is frozen. No, it's not frozen. I'm happy.
No, it's not frozen. I think it's over.
No, sometimes your screen freezes, but it's okay. Everything is fine. So thank you very much, Antoine. This is very inspiring, and you can see how people that are really engaged can bring up a really big movement. And yes, you have been disturbed a little bit by COVID, but I really cross fingers for you that it is taking off again and coming back even stronger than it used to be before the pandemic. So thank you very much. So you're saying that you're getting the food from the supermarkets. So we have a question on that. So do you get it for free? That's the question that we have in the chat for the moment.
Yes, we get it for free. We pick up food, and I would like to emphasize that people from the supermarkets, they are really happy. Some of them are really happy to give, and they have always somehow, a lot of them has always given free food for people who live in in difficult situations, and it has always been possible. And it was also a goal for us to explain to people that they could dare go and talk to local shops owner, any supermarkets, and to convince them. So in the meantime, there was a law in France, and we were consulted, even if we were really young as an organization, we were considered to participate in creating the, let's say, the pact, the national pact against food waste. And so some of our recommendation on how like supermarkets could give food and what would be the process helped inspire the law somehow, but it also helped us have more visibility, and we had more direct contact with supermarkets. And today, I would say it's a shame and it's a good thing at the same time, but there are so many new NGOs that come and collect fruit and vegetables in the supermarket that we, Disco Soup, sometimes have difficulties, because when we come to supermarkets, some of the owners say, oh, we already give to other NGOs. So we are glad that we inspired other people to do the same. But now I would say the next goal would be to come and pick the discarded fruit and vegetables where still there is a lot of waste that is not taken care of, because supermarkets are in the cities. So it's easy to find citizens to come and pick up. But there are ways to make that better. First of all, I think that there are plenty of food waste that is still in the field, and it is less easy for farmers to give discarded fruit and vegetables because it requires time, and citizens are not as equipped as in the cities to do that. Then I think it's a shame, because sometimes all this work is made by volunteers, and it is also good for the companies that give us the food, because it prevents them from paying a fine for not managing well their waste. So at some point, we citizens make a free workforce for the supermarket that keep managing not well their supplies. So I think it would be like clever and maybe relevant to maybe not only give free food, but also help finance all the service of collecting discarded food to cook them and to distribute it. Because like what costs in Disco Soup still is not the food, nor the spices or the gas. It's like having a car and like finding people who on a regular basis can come and pick the stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I think that sounds like a big logistics task as well. You talked about, smaller events, but also bigger events and a lot of food waste. So there is still a lot to be done. We have had a follow-up question, which says, do we have an official agreement with the supermarkets, or is it something more spontaneous? From your answer you just had, and I hope you're still there, Antoine. Otherwise, I would maybe ask you to turn off your camera. So let me get you.
Yes, I'm still there. I don't know why the sound is like quite strange, but I'm still there.
Can I just ask you, just say like, it's more spontaneous, like a short answer, please. Is more spontaneous, or you have agreements with the supermarkets?
Both. We can have national agreements with supermarkets and channels, but at the same time, we encourage any citizen to create their own local Disco Soup group, and they might just come and randomly go and find local sources of fruit and vegetables. So we do both.
Thank you. There's a lot of congratulations for your initiative also in the chat, which I think you really deserve. Excellent work. I have another question with regard to the material. You said we have posted already also discosoup.org in the chat, so everybody can access it. Is it only in French, or you have different languages available?
So the biggest number of Disco Soup were organized in France. So this is where we had the first toolkit. And we had translated, I think, in something, the infographics and the basic contents in something like 10 languages. I just have to keep up, because like it has been paused for the 2 years. So I just have to keep up with the webmaster to see if I can find the translation in different languages. But those translation and toolkit exist in different languages. So if you want them, you just can reach out to me, Antoine, at makesense.org, and I'd be glad to give you the international contents.
Excellent, very good. And we will also, in our follow-up article where we have all the presentations and the link to the recordings, we will also make some links if you can send it in the meantime. Very, very inspiring. Somebody says, I can only agree. Thank you very much for the moment, Antoine, for your excellent presentation. That is really, really great. And you remind me a little bit of Repair Cafes. That was also a local initiative, and it has gone on with a similar speed and inspiration. So thank you for sharing.
It's the same, spirit. And the biggest similarity with Repair Cafe is that people come sometimes to Repair Cafe not only to repair but to meet people and to have fun. And the biggest thing about Disco Soup is we succeeded in making like discarded food sexy and like friendly. And this is how you get citizens to participate. You have to make it friendly and fun.
Socially friendly. I was going to say easy, fun, meeting people, and you added sexy. I think I don't know if I can put this in the recommendations, but you're right. It has to be attractive. Thank you so much for this inspirational speech. Now, I think we are going to go to our next subject, next big sector, which is producing a lot of waste and where we can do a lot of things. In the good old times, it used to be called a 40% sector, because almost 40% of the greenhouse gas emissions, 40% of the waste produced, 40% of buildings is in hand of the public sector. It has reduced a little bit, but still a lot of work to be done here. So I give the word to Sofia Martins on what they have been doing with an e-learning course on construction demolition waste to prevent and recover waste. Very important work. Looking forward to your presentation. Sofia.
Thank you so much. And I will like to thank for the invitation. And I will talk a little bit about the learning course on construction and demolition waste. This is a good practice that Symbol, the partner of LCA for Region, presented. But the third edition of this e-learning course was developed under another project, a year grant project, where Symbol is one of the leaders, and then with the support of another partner called Smart Waste Portugal, they developed the third edition of this online course. Just to tell you that the project Deconstructs for Circular Economy has specific goals and have some specific results. For this project, there are some municipal buildings regulation that was performed. Also, a material passport model and pre-demolition audit guide was already performed. A mathematical model in order to optimize the location of the construction and demolition waste facilities in the municipality and in the regional recycling network, and have the involvement of the local, regional, and national actors was very important in order to create a network that can work on this issue. And for that specific result, the course was a fundamental tool that was used in this project. The third edition of the e-learning course was organized under this specific project. And the main objective that Symbol and the rest of the partners of this project have is to promote the education and awareness actions in order for them to have the tools in what regards CDW content, and to promote a more sustainable value change organization. This specific edition, because there are two previous editions that were more dedicated to other types of public, this one was dedicated to the 13 municipalities that integrate Symbol's region, and the target audience was the municipal technicians and other regional entities that develop their activity in the field of the CDW. The online course focused on the problem of CDW and the possibility of their integration into the value chain, and have 4 thematic areas. First, an introduction, then the CDW processing and treatment, the legislative framework and the quality management, and then the use of CDW on site. I can say that now at this moment, since we have some changes in the legislative framework, this all needs to be updated in order to have more editions, but the objective is to continue to have editions on this. But we have some changes in the legislation, so Smart Waste Portugal are now adapting and updating the online course to the new regulations. Then in terms of in the whole editions of the e-learning course, we have as target audience company and business association, public administration, that was the main target audience of the 3rd edition, and then higher education and professional association. This online course has a duration of 4 weeks, and then the audience studying the materials available more independently as they can. The modules are divided in 4, and we have the first one that is the introduction to CDW. So in here we talk about the definition and terminology, the classification, and other issues. In the second model, we talk about conventional demolition versus selective demolition, and then also about the reuse, recycling, and valorization of the materials. In the third model, the third model is dedicated to legislative framework, and in here we talk about all the regulations and the quality assurance. The fourth is the use of CDW on site, and in here we learn about various use of CDW in Portugal, and in here we have specific studies that are presented, and then we have also the presentation of good practice, good and practical cases that we have. The first edition was dedicated to companies, and it was performed in 2018 and has more than 300 applicants, and more than 200 completed the course. The second was performed in 2020 as 191 applicants. It's more dedicated to students, and more than 100 has completed it. And as I said, integrated in the Deconstruct for Circular Economy project, we have the third edition that was reserved for the stakeholders of this project. So regional and local authorities, they have 69 applicants and almost 40 ended this one. In terms of the implementation of this massive open online with this very already 3 editions, and we want to continue with it. It was supported by the Faculty of Engineering of the University of Porto for all the preparation of the materials. Also, and you see in here 2 images of the filming and the filming of the contents for the online course that is well hosted in the digital platform. In terms of the resources that was needed to perform the training was included in the specific projects that have a budget dedicated to it. So it helps when you have a project and you can finance project and you can continue to do things. Also, the staff resources and training was a key aspect to deliver it. In terms of the evidence of success, I can say that in the third edition, we have more than 500 participants. In this specific case, we have 69 trainees that participate, taking in consideration that the specific audience in a specific project, it was very good. And it was, for us, it was a success, but now we need to continue with more editions, and now that we are just updating it, Smart Waste is updating it in order to have it, more editions. And in conclusion, we know that construction and demolition sector is one that in Portugal have a lot of capacity to implement circular economy issues. So we hope that we can continue together with other projects to put this type of issues on the table. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sofia, for bringing us now to the construction sector. Is there? We have a first question. Is like, do we have any relevant links to this course? I mean, that would of course be my question. Is there a possibility for participants to access the course, to see the curriculum somewhere?
At this moment, no, because we have Smart Waste, that is the partner that was responsible for it, is updating it. So now it's in this process of update all because of the new legislative obligations. So as soon as they finish that work, they will make it available, all the information regarding the previous editions and the next ones. But in order to avoid some confusion that people go to find the content and is not updated, taking into consideration the new law, at this moment, it's better not to be available. As soon as possible, they will make it available.
And is it available in Portuguese or also in English?
It's available in Portuguese, as that is dedicated to Portuguese entities, at least at this phase, since we have as base the Portuguese legislation. Of course, if we have a possibility of a project, we can expand it. This is an idea, but at this moment is in Portuguese, with the base being the national law.
Very good. So you're having plans for a project?
We would like to develop more projects and to try to expand. It's an idea. Let's think about it.
And another question we're getting in the chat, is the course free of charge for those that are participating?
Free.
Totally free.
Yeah.
Okay. And Smart Waste is going to use the course material open source as well? Do you know?
I need to confirm it.
You need to confirm. Very good.
Yes.
No, but I think it's an excellent initiative. It's a very scattered sector. There's a lot of stakeholders involved in the construction and demolition waste question, let's say. So important that you can reach out to a wide range of people, from students to public authorities, as you said.
At least at Portugal, it's a sector with a high potential to implement circular economy issues. So it's important to give them all the information. Yes.
No, I think this educational aspect, it's not as much fun as Disco Soup. I do agree, but it's a very important activity that you're carrying out there. There's another question being asked: do the participants achieve a certificate of attendance for the course?
Yes, they have. At the end, they have a certificate. Yes. Very
good. So yeah, well, I would like to thank you very much for tackling this issue of the construction and demolition waste sector. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and I think education and training is one of the key aspects here, and that is as well communication. So thank you very much for the moment, Sofia. And so with this, we're going to the Netherlands now. Yeah, we have Patricia. So Patricia is also going to present us a very interesting initiative. It's called the Zero Waste Lab on a Plein, which is a square, if my Dutch is not misleading me. And on that square, people have been working also to become zero waste. Very interesting. We'll also post in a moment a movie that you can access, and if you speak Dutch, you can see what they have been doing there. So the word is yours. Please let us know what has been going on there on the Plein.
Yeah, thank you very much, Astrid, also for the invitation, and also to your colleagues at Interreg. So my good practice that I want to present to you today is about the Zero Waste Lab in Amsterdam. My name is Patricia van Hemert. I work as a senior researcher at the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. And I was also coordinator of the ABCitieES project, which ran from 2018 until 2022. Our good practice is based, as Astrid said, on Square 45. It's in Western Amsterdam. It's one of the busiest markets in the Western area of Amsterdam. As you can see in the map, it's quite Western. So in the far right, you see the city center with the canals, and then the red dot is where the market is. It's a daily commodity market, and it runs from Tuesday to Saturday. It started in the 1960s, and it has about 150 market stalls. But it is also surrounded by shops and restaurants and an indoor shopping center. So it's a very busy, lively, and multicultural area. People were, of course, are very happy with the market, but there are also some downsides. For years, they've been struggling with huge waste problems. The market had for a long time a self-cleaning character, which means that the market vendors had to clean their own litter. And this didn't always go so well because, there are a lot of underground private waste containers, which are big, but not so big to be able to put all those that litter in. So a lot of litter would be left behind. And if you know a little bit about Amsterdam and the Netherlands, there's a lot of wind a lot of the time. So the plastics and everything would go all over the place. And so there were a lot of complaints from the residents and the entrepreneurs in that area. So about 4 years ago, the municipality introduced a waste levy and started to dispose the waste itself. And that's when they also found out that it's not such an easy task. It's a lot of waste. And basically what they did is they brought together they brought their 2 pack containers where they put all the waste in. So there was no separation of waste. Of course, the market vendors were not very happy about that as well, because they've done it themselves for a really long time. There was still a lot of trouble with the waste. There was not enough space still. And also the municipality did not have experience with dealing with so much waste on a daily basis. So 2 market vendors, Moose and Hakim, that you can see on the pictures and also in the video. And if I'm correct, it also has subtitles in English, but I'm not quite sure. So please check later on. So they came with the idea to start a waste separation and recycle station. That was especially because one of the market vendors had a nephew who was really into recycling, and he already made plans before. So he started a draft plan. And then Redouan Boussaid, who is an area manager in Amsterdam, he helped them to write the business plan and find their way in the municipality landscape. Because, in Amsterdam, they work a lot with area teams. This means that every area has an area manager who deals with the connections between the residents and entrepreneurs and the municipality. And an important reason for this, that they work like this, is because the municipality has a really complex structure. I think a lot of municipalities have complex structures. But actually in Amsterdam, there are a lot of different departments for a lot of things. And so they don't really work together that much. So in this case, there were departments for waste and raw materials that they had to deal with cleaning. They had economic affairs, and under economic affairs, also the market office, which was really important for them. And then you had the area team New West. So this made it all very complicated. So Redouan went to the municipality in all these different departments and tried to bring them together. And they were very enthusiastic, of course, also that the market vendors came up with their own plan. But in the end, it was very difficult to get commitment from the domains because everybody said, well, you know, it's a really good idea, but we don't have money. So that's when they came up with the idea to use a neighborhood budget. And this is something that the Amsterdam municipality provides since about 2018. Because Amsterdam, it's good to know that since 2018 also has an alderman for democratization. And under democratization and with the democratization, actually they want to help to have to make sure that entrepreneurs and residents get more ownership of their own neighborhood. So in this way, they can submit plans, and then the municipality checks whether they are feasible for a subsidy. And then the residents themselves divide the available budget among the plans by voting. And in this case, by cleverly mobilizing the market vendors and the local residents, the plan of the market vendors eventually finished third. So that was very nice. So they got the budget. And just to give you an idea of what a neighborhood budget then means. So in 2022, the municipality had 916,000 euro neighborhood budget available for the New West neighborhood only. And in 2022, no less than 328 plans were submitted, and 12,220 residents voted. So it's quite successful, and it has many different plans, also community gardens, and well, you can think of a lot of things, but so it works really well. So the Zero Waste Lab started, or actually the plan was approved in 2019. And the lab itself was commissioned in January 2021 with a budget of 90,000 euros. So this is really good. And previously, all market waste went straight to the AEB incinerator. And now about 80 to 90% of the waste is processed circularly. And just to give you an idea, the waste streams from the market have found their waste to various customers. The cardboard goes to the paper processor, which is 1 kilometer from the market. The plastic crates and the pallets go back to the food center, which is about 5 kilometers from the market. And the fruit and vegetables go to the biodigester, where biogas is eventually produced and compost is made. And in the end, well, facts are important. So every week, an average of about 6,000 kilograms of green waste goes to the biodigester, 50 pallets and 1,500 plastic crates to the food center. And on an annual basis, this is more than 300,000 kilograms of GF waste and 2,600 pallets and 78,000 plastic crates. And all these waste streams previously disappeared in the incinerator, like I said. So in that sense, the Zero Waste Lab is very successful and can be considered a good practice. However, the market vendors also had a second goal, which is to bring about a change in the waste pricing system of the municipality. And the idea was that the vendors want to continue their relationship with the municipality, which has not always been so good in the past. But they strongly feel that the waste pricing system is unfair, and now all the market vendors pay an equal fee, while not all have the same amount of waste. So therefore, they want the municipality to distribute fees for the waste fairly and let the polluters pay the price. And to achieve this, they've tried to challenge the municipality by means of a right to challenge, which is also part of the democratization instruments. So far, however, without success, the challenge has been denied. I think the practice shows that democratization in this particular case can indeed be a powerful instrument. But at the same time, a powerful instrument to increase participation and ownership. But at the same time, it can also backfire and reduce gain trust, which happened in this case. So democratization really takes time and effort and requires trust from both sides to make it work. I think that's it for me for now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Patricia. I think it's very nice what you explained. And I'm actually very grateful that you also shown these excellent figures that you could achieve, you know. You're also tackling with this some very impressive waste streams which are not tackled usually, and going into incinerators and such as the crates, as the pellets. They're also usually going into being burned and so on and so forth. So I think you have been achieving something really excellent. Maybe disco soup is also an idea for you, but we have a question, and maybe Antoine, you would like to say your question out loud. That would be really nice. In the meantime, I do it for him. So he's asking if you have a toolkit, because there are some experiments in France in the same direction. So is there anything you can share with other interested parties?
I think there is some sort of toolkit. I don't have it at hand here, so I can't really explain much about it, but I'll look into it, and I will get back to you, or I will share it in the chat if possible. But they have been working on that. Yeah, I know about that.
Thank you very much, and we will share it with everybody, of course, not only with Antoine. And there was also another question from Lola in the same direction, I guess. Do you have any document that gives an overview of the different steps taken to get where you are today with the lab? Yeah, that appears to be a very important thing, so that people can follow a little bit and not make mistakes that you have been making, maybe not reinventing the wheel. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I will get back on that, but yes, they are there, and I don't have a link because they're not online yet, so I don't know if I can share them, but I will make sure hopefully I can share them if this comes live again.
No, very interesting, and I'm sure the two gentlemen will be happy to share more, because they have been talking about it also with great pleasure in the video, showing what excellent work they have been doing. So, well, thank you very much for this. I have added another word to my list, which is trust. You know, we had already easy, fun, social contacts, meeting people. And apart from trust, I have also added people. I think there's always some front runners, some people that really want to do it, and they get the initiative going. That's very important, like in most projects. My question to you would be, Patricia, do you think if somebody has a good project, he will find the money, or do you think you need the money first and then you can create such a project?
Well, I think it's best to do it bottom up and to start, but at some point you do need the money. So it's good if you can think about that early on, and if you can include that in your plan. I was also listening to Antoine, of course, and and it's good if you get a lot of enthusiasm, and if people are really eager to join you. And I think that is most important, that you really want to do it yourself and have some strong people around you, some leadership, but well, in this case, they couldn't have done it without the subsidy, and they're still looking actually now, because this was just a one-time subsidy that they got, and they have a lot of other ideas that they want to work on. So they're actually looking now for other ways to find money or to make it more sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. Please keep writing your questions in the chat. I asked the money question also to Sofia and to Serena, maybe, and Antoine. Maybe Sofia, you could start. Is it, it will be important to be finding some budget for example, also for running the course. So what is your approach to this?
Yes, in the third edition of this course represent that with some budget, it's more easier to perform. But nevertheless, and the Smart Waste Portugal entity and the partner of the project will continue to develop, of course, to improve it well and to have more resources. It's good to have that kind of things and to have some budget. With budget, things are more work better. But the objective is not to end it at all; it's to continue. But if there are some budget and if it's possible to develop under other projects and that could be financed, it's better, and the content have more time to produce some more content and to improve the course.
And Serena, with all your experience, you know, there is lots and lots of initiatives going on. So how are they financed? How do they find it? Is it also like people that are giving their free time, a lot of volunteers, or is it somehow a mixture with the official budgets, projects, and so on?
So in terms of the activities that are organized in the framework of the EWWR, have to say a lot of them are moved by the excitement of people that's a key word. I think people most of the time it's like volunteers that organize everything, but what I notice is that when people and actors are put in a sort of network, because sometimes it's like the budget is there, sometimes the money are there. There are like European programs or regional programs or even a level of municipalities that can support businesses or activities, especially in terms of circular economy, which is thanks to everyone is becoming mainstream. So there are actually instruments, also financial instruments that could help. And what I noticed that works is when people start working together in a network, because maybe you have the idea and someone else has the knowledge about where to find the money to actually make that idea work. So like from the experience, I work now 3 years on the EWWR, and so that through the week and through this small action that sometimes people did at local level, really like a neighborhood, like the last one we saw in Amsterdam, then people could meet the right person, or they could share ideas and challenges, and they could find more ways to, for example, replicate it in other places or to find funding. So I think working as a network can really help to find the money, because the money are out there somewhere, but you just need to reach them.
And maybe if I can add to this another question. So you think is one of the tasks for municipalities at least to support with some startup money, or so that things can get kickstarted and these kind of things?
Yeah, absolutely. To guide citizens, that's a key part of municipality. Once you inform, you engage, and you raise awareness in among the citizens, that you can't leave them with the amazing ideas but with no support. So yeah, the municipality and even at regional level, I think local authorities can play a key role. And I mean, in many cases, and we have a bunch of good practices on this, that they are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always talking about a lot of money. It's talking about, like, you know, for example, translating something, helping to make a video, publish something, give a platform so that an initiative becomes known amongst the citizens, or provide a room for a first meeting, or these kind of things. I mean, already, I mean, that sounds small, but it's important if you want to engage and then have these guidelines. I thought it was very nice also to see that you had very easy guidelines. I'm coming back to Antoine. If you could also join us, please, Antoine, for the financing. Yeah, hello. For the financing. Also, the question to you: what do you think is the role of money? So, how does it work? Is it first, you're starting something and then you look for the budgets, or is it very difficult to find the budgets? So
we had we decided to do stuff for free in the beginning, and we wanted to be independent of any political or commercial will. This is why we did everything with no money, and it helped us to create tutorials that could be like performed by anybody in the world. And this is why we have come from a group of 10 to a group of like 10,000. But in the meantime, at some point, a lot of the movements, people have gone away because like they were looking for a job, and they either, some of them like they became entrepreneur in the zero waste in the zero waste era, or they just quit because they had not enough time. So I think it's a shame that we are not fighting even with like advertising, which benefits from a lot of money, and that's like induce people into over-consuming, over-buying. And I think that like public authorities should match the power of influence of commercials with like help to civil societies that do awareness campaign. And like we're not fighting even big companies that encouraged like waste. So I think that at some point it is crucial that we do not only like give money to NGOs, but we also change the fiscal system. Because, for instance, my friend who do like jam out of discarded fruits, the cost of work of local, well-paid, integrational work is higher than buying stuff. So even if they get, even if Colette, who do the jam, get the fruit for free, it is such expensive in France to pay someone to collect the fruits and to pay someone to transform locally, that like jam from paid fruits is still cheaper in the supermarkets. The cost of work is too high, and the cost of like wasting resources is not fine. It costs nothing. So we're not fighting even. And it's not only like giving some money to NGOs, because like we're ready to keep on like volunteering and people would be happy. But like we're not fighting even, because the whole fiscal system is biased and is helping the people who encourage waste. So we do not only demand like subvention and help from local governments. We want also that the fiscality is changed totally. Maybe we would need to have a zero VAT added value tax on local and circular products. That would totally change the game, and at that point we would be able to live out of our activity. But if we do not change fiscality, it would be only like changing changer le pansement. It would change nothing. It would be like homeopathic.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, that's a little bit here. What we are discussing is not at national European level, but I think hopefully we can put this into the recommendations. But we are working, of course, a lot with regional, local governments and what they can do at their level. So they will not change the fiscal regime, but at least they can support these activities at their pace. But your point is very well noted. I think everybody is nodding. There has to be something changing to make this more democratic. We have well, we have one question in the chat which I could maybe include in our last round. I'd like to ask all of you for like speakers for 2 or 3 main takeaways. So what do you think are the key things that municipalities, citizens, NGOs, businesses, that are engaging in waste prevention activities, what are the 2-3 recommendations you would give them, what they have to keep in mind? I don't know who would like to go first. Maybe I can start with Serena. You haven't talked since the beginning, so maybe I can start with you with these takeaways. And then we also have one question in the chat, which is like, is there any international certification behind these activities? I don't know, but maybe you can also say a word on that.
Yeah, for the EWWR, no, it depends. It also, as I said, they are different from each country because we have different coordinators. So some coordinators, they have more impacts and power on national level, so they can actually provide something like this. But again, I cannot talk in general. From your other question, what I would say is that I think I can talk from the side of local and regional authorities, since we work mainly with them. And I think they have, I think that the role of local and regional authorities on this in sense of promoting waste prevention is quite key. In the sense that, for example, through action now, just one that comes to my mind, it's the example of Grenoble, that the municipality, at level of municipality, they publish a sort of regulation that's reduced quite a lot. It's basically not possible anymore to advertise overconsumption in the streets. And this is it has a huge impact, because we know overconsumption is related to advertisement. We all know that in Europe, we buy more than we need. And most of the time when I walk in the city, I see tram passing by and they have these huge advertisements saying that I should buy this because why not? And so I think also this, taking a step and taking action from the municipalities and regional and also regional level, this can have a huge impact in guiding. And since we are talking today about like raising awareness among citizens, they can really have a role in guiding the citizens also through public procurement, how they decide to spend public money, and to support also through this instrument circular businesses, for example. So I would say that this is the main impact that I can see, and the big role that public authorities can play on this sense.
Thank you. I think that's a very important point, and people can also be very creative over what they can achieve in their own city. So, for example, this advertising example is excellent. And for green public procurement, we had a webinar last week. So for those that are interested, you can also have a look at that. Also focusing on waste prevention, very interesting webinar as well. So maybe I could go to Patricia to see what do you think are your 2-3 recommendations for local and regional authorities that want to engage in waste prevention?
Well, basing it a little bit on my own case, I think what is important is really don't underestimate the ideas and enthusiasm of local people and entrepreneurs in the local areas. Give people the benefit of the doubt, even though in the past maybe you haven't worked together, give it a chance, because it's a really important issue, and really we have to start working now. So any idea, any good practice helps. And I think finally, just cooperate with as many different people as possible. So as many different stakeholders. Because we really all have to do it together, and it's not just something that can be done by one discipline or one department, or we need to work together more. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Patricia. So maybe I can go to Sofia. Do you see Antoine as ladies first tonight, this afternoon?
Ladies first. So in terms of the question about the certification, no, at this moment, no. But it is, of course, follow the guidelines of the Portuguese Environmental Agency for that type of activity. So we don't have international certification. In terms of recommendation, well, in here, and as I mentioned, the construction sector is one of the sectors that have a great potential to grow in terms of circularity in Portugal, but it's not the only one. So probably we can consider to develop the same things to other sectors. But I think that one thing that was shown with the participation of the agents in these 3 editions that we have is that all the agents involved have to have knowledge in terms of legislation, material composition, building stocks and material flows and so on, in order to have a shift in the paradigm. The thing is that, and we noticed that in the 3rd edition with the municipality actors, that sometimes they don't know how to start, and if they have the knowledge, it's easier. So I think this is the major recommendation that we can have, because sometimes the difficulty is to start due to lack of information and don't know how to start to work on it. So this type of activities help to give them that information.
Thank you. I think that's an important point as well. Some things are complicated, like the construction sector, and the knowledge and distributing the knowledge is also one of the important roles that local and regional authorities can play. So this gives the word to Antoine. So what would be your 2 or 3 recommendations that you could give to our participants?
First of all, like, learn from the field. So do not try to create something new. We did not create anything new. We just marketed the concept so that it is like attractive, and we distributed from what already existed. So find in your local territories examples that you could market so that it would inspire other people. There is nothing better than good practices from a restaurant keeper to inspire other restaurant keeper. Try to find what already exists and create a methodology out of it so that other people can replicate. So that would be like replicate, make it sound fun. Like, people are alone in front of their Netflix computer, craving for social bond, creativity, having fun, meeting people. So make it replicate, make it replicable, make it fun, and I would say encourage people. Like, people are fed up of government asking them like to perform better, to be more eco-friendly. At some point, you should, I think, help people understand the ins and outs of like policies, and like fight for fiscal change, fight for new regulation. And as long as we encourage people to make like eco movements, eco conduct, it would change nothing. We have to change the system. So people are not dumb, and if given the time and the opportunity to learn, they can become real experts. So help also your local citizen to create I would say political movements that can really change the rules, and not only the, let's say, the surface.
Thank you very much, Antoine, for these words. I think it's really admirable, your spirit, and for fighting for this. So I think we all agree with you, and we like the atmosphere this is creating. So fun, but also in a fighting spirit. So thank you very much for all your words, for all your contributions. I will just say again that we will, of course, distribute what we have been discussing today through the recordings. All the presentations will be available, and the links. So for those that are leaving us, please take the survey, make sure that we can continue our good work, and we get some good feedback, hopefully, from you for our events. And for people that have been coming a little bit late, just again to say that we have some nice events coming up on rethinking local policies, bringing back nature to the city. So there was interest on that in the chat. So here you go. This is taking place in Ghent. You can register for that. And then we are also looking into climate adaptation in deltas. focusing on coastal restoration and then wetland restoration. Also some very interesting activities which are going on there, and you're very welcome to join us for these next webinars. So again, a big thank you to our speakers for all their efforts, for answering all the questions and the links. So thank you very much. Hope to see you soon on one of our next Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform webinars. Or if you want to request a service from us in terms of matchmakings or peer reviews, we're here for you to help you with your policy challenges. So this is it from us, and thank you, and sunny greetings from Brussels.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.